Hi, welcome to Ruby's Room. It's my show on the web. And this week we're looking at gender dysphoria, which is actually another word for gender identity disorder. And it comes from a kind of confusion or anxiety about the gender you were born with. Now, it affects about 15,000 people who are seeking medical help for the condition, and it usually affects men more than women. If you have gender dysphoria, you can feel very strongly that you were born the wrong gender, you really dislike a lot of your physical manifestations, and you can get long-term anxiety about your condition. Now, it covers a really large spectrum. You can go from occasional cross-dressing all the way over to the whole sex change, which involves hormones and surgery. It's very different from transvesticism, where when you cross-dress, you do it for sexual pleasure or entertainment. If you have gender dysphoria, it means that you're born as a man, but you really want to be a woman. Now, a lot of people feel a lot of shame about that, but I don't know why they should be. Is it the feel of the clothes?
How could it be? I was only 3 or 4 years old when
Right.
I found out after I met my mother's uncle and I changed over to living as a woman, that he told me that I was doing it when I was 4 or 5.
Dressing as a girl.
Yeah, I enjoyed dressing as a girl.
Why? What's it feel like? I don't like dressing as a girl.
Didn't you?
No.
No, I do.
You were married, right?
Yeah, I got married in 1958. When my wife first found she was pregnant in 1960, she said, I want you to be cured.
Cured of?
Cross-dressing.
Did she see that you were dressing up?
Yeah, she knew. She knew because I told her.
Was she upset?
Not until she found she was pregnant. I wanted to be cured because she's my young wife.
So where did you go to get cured?
I went to see my doctor. He said, "Oh, you're a transvestite," and I'd never heard of the word. So he said there is a doctor in London that's doing a new form of aversion therapy, and every 3 weeks I used to go to his clinic up in Hammersmith, change into girls' clothes. He would give me an injection in my backside that made me violently sick and vomit, and he would tell me what a disgusting person I was and how awful I was to my young wife and my new unborn child that was coming along. And so I stuck it out for about 6 months. I said to my wife I was cured. I told the doctor I was cured, so I didn't have to go back anymore. And it was about 5 or 6 years. I kept it kept it secret back in the closet.
Right.
It was at a cousin's wedding. I told her I hadn't been cured. By then we had 2 sons. Basically it was the end of our relationship. When she died, she was 51, she dropped dead of a heart attack. I think, being honest, we would probably have been divorced.
So now your wife's dead, right? So then did you just think, okay, I can throw up in the closet?
Yeah, in a way. My oldest son came home from work. He was 22. My youngest son was 20. And I was in the house dressed. No makeup, just dressed. I heard him coming upstairs. I couldn't hide. And I thought, oh God. He walked past me going into his bedroom. He went on my backside and says, "Hello, Dad. I think me and you ought to have a chat, don't you?"
In childhood, a sign of gender dysphoria can be an interest in the behavior of the opposite sex. By adolescence, if your feelings of gender dysphoria are still strong, then it's probably not just a phase. Coping with it becomes much more complicated as your hormones trigger changes in your body. In adulthood, a lot of people with gender dysphoria might think of themselves as homosexual or bisexual instead. Others might try to conform more to their birth gender by settling down and having a family. These feelings can be extremely difficult to deal with, and many transsexuals and people with gender dysphoria may experience depression or even suicidal feelings.
I told my sons, when I retire at 60, I want to change over and live full-time as a woman, but I'm not planning on having genital surgery. Mm-hmm. They said, fine, Dad, if that's what you want to do, fine. I retired when I was just coming up to 58, and I made that transition then. So,
in one day you go from, did you have to do a lot of shopping?
On the 31st of December, I was working and being Terry.
Yeah.
On the 3rd of January, I became Janet.
So how did you learn how to be a woman?
A lot of practice.
In front of the mirror?
Yes, I got a great big mirror. I was walking up and down in front of the mirror. And it took me about 6 months to get it to the point that when I went out dressed,
Nobody noticed.
people weren't
What else
staring
did you
at
have
me.
to learn about turning into a
Turning
female?
my makeup down. If I'm going shopping to Woolworths, I didn't want to look like I was going to a wedding. I spoke to my doctor and she helped me change my documents. So I spent 4 years before I actually made that transition of learning how to become a woman.
Right.
I've spoken, to be honest, Ruby, to literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of transgender people on helplines who have had great difficulty in coming to terms with this very strong feminine side and trying to understand why they feel like that when at the same time they're very, very masculine men who have very normal masculine lives, wives and children. And trying to understand that, it helps me to understand myself. And I've got to understand myself completely before I can help them.
So are you happy now?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, there is nothing I could want, to be honest. I've got a great life. I've got lovely friends. I've got a lovely family. What could I want?
Treatment for gender dysphoria really depends on how they want to live their lives, so treatment can really vary from person to person. Some people maybe just want the support and help from a clinic, while others can go for more extreme measures, either hormone treatment or the full surgery. Your first port of call should be a GP or a healthcare worker who can refer you to a gender identity clinic. For more information and support, visit the Beaumont Trust or Mind. Look at that. How does she learn to walk like a girl? I love that, Janet. What a gal. Nighty-night.